Talk about an about face. When people decide to make one of the most drastic changes in their lives you could imagine, they often head to the most unlikely town you could imagine. Our cover story is reported by Seth Doane.
Good morning, everyone. The Classic Rock Station, 92.5 and 100.3 FM. We're KCRT, Trinidad, Colorado.
Trinidad, Colorado looks pretty much like any small town. Home to about 10,000 people, it's tucked in the Rocky Mountains of southern Colorado. The kind of place where the day's highlight might be a game of hoops.
Perfect. Look at this.
Or perhaps a loaf of freshly baked bread. Once a stop along the Santa Fe Trail, Trinidad's always been on the frontier.
Kind of live and let live here?
Exactly.
Joe Riorda's the mayor.
Need help? I'll tell you what, I could walk to any house in this town. If I needed $1,000, if they didn't have it, they'd find it someplace to give it to me. That's the kind of town we are.
Generous.
We take care of each other.
Hi. How are you? Good.
As a local doctor, it's Marcy Bowers' job to care, but she's not your typical small-town doc.
She is such a boon to this community.
In town, people know her, like her, see her, interact with her, but really, they don't treat her any differently than any other doctor would say you'd see in town at the grocery store.
Okay, so what's so special about Dr. Bowers?
It was just interesting because everyone thought, oh, how cute. We have a lady OBGYN is moving into town. How sweet, you know. And little by little, as some of these media things happened, people began to find out about me, and then it was like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Interesting because before she was Dr. Marcy Bowers, she was Dr. Mark Bowers. See, in 1998, Dr. Bowers underwent sexual reassignment surgery, a sex change operation.
Gender is what's, in the shoulders up. It's what you think of yourself inside. So the hard part and the discomfort and the reason why people pursue hormones and surgery is because those two things don't match.
The gender and the genitalia.
Mm-hmm. And people are telling you you're a boy or you're a girl or whatever, and inside your gender is telling you, mm-mm. Let me have you take some deep breaths in and out, please.
And now she performs that very same surgery on hundreds of patients every year, right here in Trinidad. But this story doesn't begin with Marcy Bowers. In 2003, she took over from this man, Dr. Stanley Biber, who started the nation's first private practice for gender reassignment surgery back in 1969.
He would educate little by little, and people would meet transgendered people one by one. And pretty soon the town came to realize that, we were helping these people, and they were in turn providing an economic stimulus to the small community.
And so Trinidad, Colorado came to be known as the sex change capital of the United States.
Why is this so important?
Almost 40 years later, town mayor Joe Riorda says to everyone here, it's very old news.
It's 20 years old.
Well, it's interesting that
It didn't just start. I mean, it didn't just, we're unique in that it started here.
But it's been going on for a long time.
Yes, and it isn't something new. I mean...
In fact, when folks like us come around, townspeople like Pastor Dick Valdez confess it's kind of been there, done that.
Well, let's put it this way. I heard that you were in town yesterday, and, it immediately clicks. Well, they're going to be doing the transgender reassignment, whatever deal again. And it's like, okay, that's how, because we've had Geraldo here, and we've had Oprah here, and it's like, I think we get a little tired of that being our claim to fame.
Still, for some, it's a very big deal indeed. In fact, for about 300 Americans every year, Trinidad is a destination that's part of a lifelong journey.
This is a huge thing.
It is for this woman. We'll call her Lynn. When we met her on the eve of her sexual reassignment surgery, she viewed it as a turning point so emotional, so scary, she wouldn't let us even show her face. Later on, you'll get to see her.
And it got down to the point where it was either suicide or surgery. Suicide or transition, really. And
suicide or surgery
right.
for you?
It got down to that point. I could not ignore my feelings anymore.
For years, Lynn says she tried to numb the pain by abusing substances, even cutting herself. She's come all the way from the East Coast, believing that this surgery may offer some answers.
I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm relieved.
The next morning, Dr. Bowers prepares for the procedure. As you might expect, it's complicated, controversial, and incredibly costly. Though estimates vary widely, roughly 1,000 Americans undergo sexual reassignment surgery every year, despite the price tag of about $18,000. For Lynn, like most, it's not covered by insurance.
How many doctors in the U.S. do this?
Well, there may be as many as 25 have ever done one, but in terms of the ones who do them on a regular basis, fewer than, I would say fewer than 6.
After a few days of recovery, most patients will return home.
I just knew this place was different.
But a few others, like Michelle Miles, will remain in Trinidad.
You know, Trinidad was a place that has a lot of lore for a transsexual. I mean, this is where modern transsexual surgery in the United States was born.
Once an investment banker in New York City, Michelle was Michael Miles. She traveled to Trinidad for the surgery and says she stayed for the peace and quiet.
I think there's some legacy of this rugged Western individualism here where people just have a lot of respect for your choice on how to lead your life.
Is it all worth it?
It is.
But most, like Lynn, return home, where we caught up with her 3.5 months after the surgery to see how things were going.
It was a good experience.
This time, she was willing to let us show her face and even reveal her name. Meet Rebecca Lynn Jameson.
Why come out and talk with us now, revealing your identity?
I'm not sure, really. It's just, I'm not concerned about hiding. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm coming out of one closet and going into another by hiding my past.
A past, she says, that was incredibly painful.
There were times when I held a loaded pistol to my head, and I thought all I had to do was pull the trigger.
Rebecca is 37. She works for a large financial institution in the Southeast. For a long time, she says she tried to hide who she really was, even joining the military.
Maybe if I'm just man enough, I can deal with this. I can push it aside, I can bury it, I can overcome it.
You tried to do that.
I tried to do that, and it never works.
So 2 years ago, Rebecca began living as a woman. For transgendered people, it's just one of the steps in a process called transition.
We're not all like Jerry Springer. We're regular people, just like everyone else. We run the risk of losing family, friends, our children, and even our lives just for trying to be who we are.
You've had complications from the surgery. Some of the recovery has been quite tough. Is it worth it?
Yes, it is worth it. I would go through this again, even knowing what I know now. I know that complications are a risk, and for me, it was totally worth it.
Still, Rebecca confesses she worries that by speaking up, by showing her face, she might become a target for those who disapprove. Back in Trinidad, we asked Dr. Bowers about that.
What do you say to someone who says this is immoral? You shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong.
Well, I'm happy to let God be the judge of that. And I'm pretty self-assured in knowing that we are helping people.
Pastor Dick Valdez agrees to a point.
How do you reconcile your religious beliefs with Marcy Bowers' practice?
Well, I think she's trying to help people. I think that's what churches should be about. We're all looking for help and at the same time trying to help people. We would disagree on how she's trying to help people.
Still, for the most part, the town of Trinidad seems proud of their doctor and the cottage industry that's put it on the map. It doesn't appear to faze locals a bit, as we found out at a Tuesday night game at Trinidad High.
Yeah, man. These people are great. I love them.
Do you ever hear about Marcy Bowers?
I know her.
Practice? You know her?
Yeah, I play golf with her sometimes. So.
Wow.
So
you play golf with her?
Yeah.
Wow. Is she a good golfer?
She's pretty good.
In fact, a lot of folks in town seem to be telling the rest of us to, well, just get over it.
I spoke with a woman this morning serving my coffee who said, you know, there are a lot of us in Trinidad working very hard to make the story of this town about more than sex changes.
I think we all kind of, in a way, are fatigued by talking about it, but there's obviously a need. There continues to be a need because, you know, until the world really understands, it's going to be an issue.